Hello Starbear Cubs, it's me Starbear Woman here to bring you another reading. This time it will be a personal or spiritual growth reading. And if you are returning from some of my other readings, then thank you so much for coming back. I do hope that you like, share, and subscribe. And I hope that this resonates for you at this time. And if not, then maybe the next one will. So we're just going to get started here. I'm starting with this Earth Magic deck by Stephen Farmer, just to get the overall energies of this personal growth, spiritual journey type reading. Yeah, I hesitated about what to call it. I was going to call it just a spiritual growth reading, but ultimately everything is spiritual growth. Everything in our life is about our spiritual journey, whether it's love and relationships or money and career. It all comes down to our spiritual journey. But alas, this reading does have more of a focus on the spiritual, the ethereal, the esoteric, the intuitive, the 5D. What's going on? Wow, a card just flew. We got rain, purification. And this card is about release. Experiencing your emotions, allowing them to just flow through you. Acknowledging your emotions, experiencing them, yes, but then also letting them go, releasing them, and that is a form of purification. It's about detoxifying, crying, releasing your pain and not holding on to it tightly. From the book it says, purifying your mind, body, and spirit is the task that is put before you. Purify your mind by identifying a prominent belief you carry about yourself that inhibits you from being fully engaged in life, from showing up 100% of the time. Purify your heart by allowing yourself to breathe in and out blessings and forgiveness so that you can love even more deeply. Let yourself feel your grief, truly feel it, so that the rivers of your tears become miniature baptisms that help heal the wounds in your soul. If necessary, detoxify your body, the temple and seat of the soul, by changing your diet, doing a cleanse for a few days, or simply drinking more water. Increasing the daily amount of water you drink with deep appreciation for its purpose will revitalize your spirit. It is no wonder that in some indigenous languages water is called lifeblood, as it is so essential to every form of life on earth. Take time to purify yourself. Okay. That is the first message coming out. So we'll see what the moon has to say. In this day and age, it makes sense that we all will have deep feelings and emotions and anxieties that we're just hanging on to because we're kind of collectively in fight or flight mode. We don't really know what's going on, how the world is going to change, what the new normal is going to be. So in some senses, the entire planet, the entire human race is in need of a deep spiritual purification. Okay, and from the Moonology deck we get a time to give rather than take. And this is new moon in Virgo, Mern. And interestingly, I look out the window and I see the new moon out my window, so it's a very powerful message at this time. So you're being called to evaluate. Oh, look at this. Look at the colors of these cards. I don't know if you can see it, but they're both the shades of green and white, blurry, foggy sort of thing. These cards definitely go together. Time to give rather than to take. Now that might mean giving to yourself, self-love. And I'm feeling called to read from the book for this card as well. I usually try not to do that too much, but when the book says it so well. When this card comes up, it's time for you to take stock of your situation. Where are you and where do you want to go? The new moon energy of this card suggests a restart, and the Virgo energy suggests you make that restart a clever one that's simple and well organized. Virgo also has a strong health aspect to it. So if you've been unwell, this card suggests that your health is on the up. Virgo loves clean eating and alternative therapy, so add these into your routines now, however you've been feeling. If a situation is blocked at the moment, it could be that you're overanalyzing things or being too critical. It's time to ask less of what someone else can do for you and to think more about what you can do for others. Recommit to healthy morning and evening routines. Okay, so it seems like the message of the card that is the strongest here is the detoxing aspect, the health aspect. You're being called to look at some of your eating habits, sleeping habits, exercise habits, perhaps, and you're being asked to reevaluate what you're doing and whether it's for your best interests at this time. Perhaps you've got some pent-up emotions that you need to work through. Perhaps you're putting a little bit too much time and energy into an extensive exercise routine, and not spending enough time looking inward. Maybe you're trying to do a lot of other things to distract yourself, maybe stress shopping or stress eating or stress cleaning, stress organizing. I don't know. Some of those things don't seem like bad things in my mind, but anything that you're doing that's creating an unhealthy pattern, I feel like it's to do that to avoid this detox that needs to happen, this emotional purge, emotional or mental purification that needs to happen, and it's kind of been stunted or stagnant because you are putting your energies in other places to avoid the work that needs to be done for this purification, for your health. Okay, that's the sense I get so far. And last, we are using the Starseed deck by Rebecca Campbell. And if you're not sure what a starseed is, the very simple explanation is the idea that we all are made of the stuff of stars. And I'm just going to put myself right out there and admit honestly that I don't think God, the creator, stopped at creating just one planet with life, but that there's the potential for many. It's a big universe out there. Full of potential, full of life. Okay, the cards that came out right away are Loosen Your Grip, Coping Mechanisms, Density, Addiction, Let God In. Oh my goodness. Weren't we just talking about coping mechanisms? I didn't use the word addiction, but, you know, we did talk about detoxing. And detoxing is something that is needed when you have an addiction. Now, an addiction can be either physical or emotional. So it can be, of course, an addiction to substances, alcohol, smoking, drugs. But it can also be, or it could be unhealthy foods. But it can also be, as for other external things, it can be an addiction to, like I said, shopping, Online shopping can be addicting, very addicting, certainly these days. Not saying I'm guilty of that at all. But of course, also internal addictions to unhealthy thought patterns, negative thought patterns, self-limiting beliefs, victim mentality, scarcity mentality, the idea that you just don't have enough, the idea that you're not good enough. Those are all unhealthy and addicting thought patterns, in fact, because whenever we think, any thought we have, there's a neural pathway that's developed. And the more we think that thought and give life to it, the more firmly grounded and rooted it becomes in our brain, and the more of a reality we make that thought to be. So whatever the addiction is, you are being called to loosen your grip on it and let God in. This is really interesting because I'll be honest, I did a reading before this one and it just wasn't coming together and I just wasn't feeling inspired and I just felt like I was pulling teeth. And this is turning out to be the same basic message. I can't believe it. In fact, I even used the phrase let go and let God in the previous reading that I ended up scrapping because perhaps I was not loosening my grip on the reading. Take it how you will, but you are being called to loosen your grip on something that you are holding on to very, very tightly. Whew. I think this message might be for me too. And then we have Empathic Starseed. Energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. Wow. Okay. Yes. So I've gotten this card a lot myself, actually. So for those of you who are empaths, and an empath is simply somebody who has the gift of feeling everyone's feelings around them. So empaths often find it very hard to go to malls. Personally, I hate malls. They're exhausting because you kind of soak up everyone's energy around you like a sponge. And if you haven't taken proper measures to protect yourself by grounding or putting a protective shield around yourself, you're going to soak up all those energies and then you're going to feel those feelings and you're not going to know where they come from. Have you ever started the day in a good mood and then you've gone somewhere or been around someone who perhaps is in a bad mood or they tend to be a negative person, and then you kind of come out of that interaction feeling negative, feeling grumpy, and you don't even know why. You might even say to yourself, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I didn't feel this way this morning. So if there isn't an obvious reason why you feel a certain way, your mood just changed like that, that could be because you are empathic and you have absorbed what's not yours, which is what the card says here. So you're being asked to take more control of your energy and protect yourself. So perhaps whoever is drawn to this message has empathic tendencies or abilities or gifts. And, oh, look at this. A time to give rather than take. Oh my goodness, this is interesting. So it's like you are taking too much, and what you are taking is other people's energies, and it isn't good for you. Well, it never really is very good unless the person's energy is positive, and then they bring you up to their level on a higher frequency. But in this case, I don't think she doesn't look too happy, does she? I think you are taking too much energy that's not your own, whether it's the negative energy of the world and what's going on in the state of the world. I won't even go there, but you all know. And perhaps you need to focus more on giving positive energy right back out into the world. But before you do that, it looks like you've got some other things. You've got to loosen your grip on the energies that you are clinging to. I think perhaps, perhaps because you are not fully protecting yourself or grounding from the energies around there. And believe me, I know the energies out there are so thick you could cut them like a knife, the negative energies, and you just get sucked into the rabbit hole of social media and the news stories that are happening right now. It's like we're living the Hunger Games. So there's a lot of negative energy going around us, all around us, and we have to be extra vigilant about protecting ourselves and our sphere and our energy. So there's a multifaceted process that you're being called to do here. Actually, it's almost like it's an order, but it's in a certain order. You need to start by detoxing the negative energies that are in your space right now. And then you need to focus on not taking on any new energies and protecting yourself from them. And give more time to yourself and to your healing, and also trying to put positive energies out there. And then connected to that, or the next step is to, maintain energetic sovereignty over your own energy field and not allowing it to be penetrated by anything that is just not serving you or for your greater good. Not absorbing anything that is not yours, is not for you. And once you've gotten to that point, you can start focusing on loosening your grip on the coping mechanisms that you've adopted over time to deal with all these unpleasant and unhealthy feelings and emotions. And believe me, I know how hard it is to deal with those emotions, and turning to outside substances or help, or even internal mental processes that help you, cope with this. I don't know what's going on with my voice. Okay. And the last card is Starkeeper. Cosmic ancestors seed the light by staying grounded. So there we go. There's the final. This might be the whole reading right here. Essentially what this card means is that you have a role on this planet to bring light and positivity and love to those around you. Oftentimes people who are empaths, that's why they're empaths, because we understand people and their feelings and their emotions. And what better way to help people than to really understand them and to be able to relate and sympathize with them. And so, and the best way to be helpful as an empath and as a light worker and as somebody who is here to help the world become a better place, as somebody who's an empath, who's being bombarded with negative, toxic energies and emotions, and turning to outside, inside addictions to deal with it. What you're being called to do is detoxify, purify, develop healthy habits, sleeping habits, eating habits, thinking habits, spiritual practices of meditation, connecting with your higher guidance, connecting with your higher guidance, your cosmic ancestors, and taking care of yourself, giving to yourself, rather than taking from others, taking the energy that is just not helping you right now. And staying grounded. So now we're going to dig a little deeper with the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck by Colette Baron-Reid. Let's see if we can get anything more that would be helpful for your personal growth at this time. So the first card we got is Soul Retrieval. And this is seeking out causes of your pain and healing them one by one. Reclaiming your soul. Now I know a little bit about soul retrievals as I've done them myself. And the short and sweet version of this is that every time you have a moment of trauma in your life, whether it's in this life or in past lives, you leave a piece of your soul in that moment. Anytime there's a moment of trauma, you are kind of stunted. Your growth is stunted in that moment, and you leave a piece of yourself there. And so soul retrieval is a very deep, mystic, shamanic experience where you go to you put yourself in a meditative state, and you take yourself to a time in history, a snapshot in your history, where you had a trauma that was unresolved, or feelings that there was no closure for. And you basically take your soul back. You take that piece back and you find closure in that moment. It's a little bit like time travel. I mean, of course, it's in your mind, and you're just sitting in your room or wherever you are. But it is a very powerful thing to do. It's very empowering to take yourself to a traumatic moment, whether it's very clear in your memory and the recent past, or a foggy, misty memory that you vaguely have held on to, but you've carried the trauma with you from that moment. So now this is creating a deeper picture of the purification. This is a way of doing that. This is one of the ways of purifying your soul and getting rid of blocked emotions, blocked chakras. In fact, that's precisely what causes the blockages, is trauma. And so you're being invited to, wouldn't necessarily have to do an actual soul retrieval ritual or meditation, but it's this idea that you reclaim your power. You reclaim your sense of self, the piece of your soul that was left behind, waiting for you to retrieve it. Whew. Okay. The next card we got is Taming the Wind. And this is about honing your spiritual gifts and your skills at communication. So for me, this would go with the empathic card, that you are somebody who is an empath. You feel people's emotions around you. You have a deeper, broader understanding of the room when you're reading a room. And so you need to, I like the wording, taming the wind. You need to tame your gift, because right now it seems to be running amok. You seem to be just absorbing everybody's energy and the world's energy like a sponge. So you need to sharpen your skills as an empath. You need to maybe do some studying or read some articles or read books. Understand a little bit more about what it means to be an empath, and learning how to control that, learning how to control what's coming in and what's going out, and creating a protective sphere around yourself so you are not absorbing people's energy. And the book says, it's time to clear your energy, be present, and become conscious of how you communicate. This is a good time to write in a journal and put your thoughts into cohesive form. Perhaps you need to actually do a smudging ceremony in your home or office, creating a sacred space to write about your dreams and desires. Just remember that when Taming the Wind appears as a symbol, it's time to honor the Great Spirit with reverence and respect. And that can tie in with this idea of it's a time to give rather than take. While you're being called to respect yourself and to love yourself, also to love and respect the Creator or your higher power or your higher guidance, and ask for help in this process. And this is one of my favorite cards, the Eagle. And just as the card depicts, it's about spreading your wings and flying. And what does an eagle do? I think they're the bird that flies the highest of all the birds. They can fly above the clouds, and they get the biggest perspective. And not only do they have their cool eagle vision, they also just can fly so high that they have such a bigger perspective of everything. And it's about reevaluating your daily routines and getting out of a slump. Like if you feel really stuck, or of course in this case if you have addictions that you're turning to cope with the overwhelming emotions that you are absorbing, then it is kind of a feedback loop, a cycle that's hard to break. So that puts you in a slump. So the eagle is inviting you to get out of that rut and to spread your wings and fly. And from the book it says here, do you want to live in a chicken coop sheltered from life, counting the regular feedings, or do you want to soar like an eagle? Wow. Yeah, and if you're kind of somebody who's caught in a cycle of addiction and substances and negative thought patterns, it's kind of like you're like the chicken in a coop. You're caged and you're not really going very far. You're not getting fresh air. You're not eating different kinds of foods. You're just sort of waiting for the next meal to be brought to you. And life was pretty dull. And it's the same routine every day. Not a whole lot going on. And you're in a cage. Right? Do you want to be stuck in that cage that you've put yourself in, or do you want to spread your wings and fly? And this seems like a nice sort of last card to get here. I sure hope this is the outcome. I didn't really structure this reading. It's kind of moving itself along in its own natural flow, but the last card we have here is the Sun. And the Sun card invites you to just have fun. Come out and shine your light and rekindle your passion for life again. And interestingly, the first line in the book is, it's time to come out of your cave and savor the life-giving light of our star. We were just talking about being in a cage as a chicken. So come out of your cage and come out of the cave and spread your wings and fly. Now this makes sense to me because empaths do tend to hide away from the world. We're quite happy to be alone. It's just easier that way than absorbing all the energy that gets a little bit overwhelming. But you're being encouraged to not hide away. You know, do the work, do the healing work, start some healthy habits, and take some time for yourself and to honor the Creator and spend some time alone and in meditation, yes. And if you have any unhealthy patterns or addictions, do your best to wean yourself off of that. Whatever those negative patterns are. And once you've done that, and you've retrieved the lost pieces of your soul that were frozen in time when you experienced a trauma, once you've done that, and you've learned to control your abilities as a light worker, an empath, then you can leave your cage and spread your wings and fly and have fun again, have joy again, abundance. See love and light in all situations, and yourself be the love and the light that comes to every situation. Be the person that other people want to be around. The person that makes other people feel lighter when they're around them. Be the person that's a positive influence. The one who shows others that the trauma doesn't have to be the end of the story. That time in the chrysalis. Oh my goodness, the previous reading also involved me talking about a caterpillar going into a chrysalis and becoming a butterfly. That's really funny, and this card didn't even come up then, but okay, message received. I guess I'm telling the same story. Be the one who is the butterfly that tells the caterpillar, don't be afraid. Here I am doing a puppet show. Oh, this reading is just getting ridiculous. Oh, be the butterfly that tells the caterpillars, don't be afraid. It's okay to go into the chrysalis and become a pile of goo. It really is better on the other side. It really is. And then tell the others about how awesome it is to fly above the clouds and to be free and to soar and to feel the wind on your face and to feel the wind on your face. Be the leader that you wished you had. Guide the caterpillars who are also going through their time of detox and sorting through all their pain and trauma and stress and addictions and negative thought patterns. Maybe they are empaths as well, and it's becoming overwhelming for them as well. Show them how you got through it. Show the world how you got through it. How you got your pieces of your soul back. You became whole again. That you've been to the dark. You know what the dark is like. The world needs to see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, a silver lining in the cloud, that things will get better. Be the one who tells your friends and family and coworkers and everyone around you that it will get better. It will get better. I'm looking back at this card. I'm drawn to the word seed the light by staying grounded. Seed the light, like plant the seeds of light. Plant your seeds of love and light, joy. Plant those seeds. But the only way you can do that is by first giving to yourself, taking care of yourself, detoxing, purifying, figuring out a way to protect yourself. And interestingly, I'm not even sure this is a protection card, but he's got, I just noticed, he's got a blue egg or sphere around himself, which is the symbol of protection. In fact, I imagine a blue sphere around myself when I want to be protected from negative energies. So there you go. Protect yourself. Okay, we're going to close this very interesting reading that just went all over the place with twists and turns and camera shutting off on me and a false start reading. This has just been very interesting. I simply have to share it now. So I'm going to draw a couple cards from the Archangel Michael deck to close this off. Okay, we have explore your options. And the prayer is, Dear God, thank you for your wisdom and love, helping me see, understand, and assess all of my alternative options. Please guide me in the best direction for my health, happiness, and life's purpose. Wow. So no doubt when you're at a turning point in your life, you need to figure out where to go next, figure out a plan, figure out how to replace unhealthy patterns with healthy patterns. You always have a choice. This is a card about how you always have a choice. There's always options. There's always a way out. There's always another way to do things. We have innocence. Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me to see that all of your qualities of pure love and light are reflected within me and all others. Help me embrace my God-given innocence so that I may be at peace. Wow. So depending on your toxic cycles or addictions, you know, the root of a lot of those behaviors is self-blame, self-hatred, self-doubt, and guilt and shame. And this is such a beautiful card, reminding you that you are innocent. God sees you with as much innocence as you had when you first entered this world as a baby. And look, this guy's holding a cute little puppy. Okay? Know that you are innocent. You already have a clean slate in God's eyes. So work with that. Work with that as you begin to decompress and release negative and toxic behaviors and thought patterns. We have guarded and protected. Thank you for protecting my loved ones and me, ensuring that we're safe and that all our needs are met. I now accept your help gratefully and gracefully, knowing that it is right for me and all others to accept heavenly assistance. Yeah. And that's kind of what we were touching on here about asking for higher guidance and help, letting your guides help you, inviting God into the process or your higher power to help you get through this really, really challenging time. And this is an interesting card. This is one that I often misread if I'm not in a good headspace or misunderstand. You created this situation, you have the power to change it. Now that's not necessarily what you want to hear when you are depressed or suffering or feeling anxiety or in a conflict situation that you feel is out of your hands. But the beauty of this card is it's very much about you have choices. You have choices, you have options. You always have choices and options, regardless of how trapped you might feel. So regarding your addictions and toxic behaviors that you need to walk away from, you need to purify yourself and detox from. This is about, you have the power to undo that. You do. And the prayer is, thank you for letting me lean on your strength and for reminding me of my personal power. Please guide me to manifest and heal according to divine will, creating peace and blessings for everyone involved. And yes, like I said, once you've done the healing work, the soul retrieval work, detoxing, and ending unhealthy patterns and learning how to protect yourself from other people's energy, then you will create peace and blessings for everyone. You will have a lot of love and light to share, a lot more than you do now. And I'm going to officially close the reading with a crystal card, which I always do. Here we get a final message for this personal growth and spiritual journey reading that had a life of its own. I think this is all of our story now, or many people out there. This is the story I think a lot of people can relate to, how we're feeling right now. Can I get a crystal card to close the reading, please? Guides, guardians. All right, and the crystal card that we got is Pyrite. Inherent value, knowing your worth, self-appreciation, genuine abundance, and prosperity within. Throughout the ages, humans have sought the gems of the earth, the crystals whose beauty delighted the eye, whose powers could aid them in their quest to achieve a sense of safety and abundance. They recognize the intrinsic value of these gifts from nature, and when Pyrite Spirit appears, you are meant to appreciate the abundance that the conscious universe has provided. An abundance of opportunities, resources, support, and most importantly, love. I'm going to pause right there because, again, you are being asked to recognize that you have options and that you have the power to change unpleasant situations. A scarcity mentality will prevent you from seeing all that is available to you, and you are called now to offer thanks for the myriad gifts you've been given to help you achieve balance. As you take your healing journey, you will find it easier and easier to recognize that you will always have what you need. Abundance awaits as you ready yourself to claim it. The conscious universe has your back. What you need will not be denied you at this time, so open yourself to receiving it by practicing appreciation. It's really interesting that this card came out today because I'm actually wearing pyrite, which by the way is also known as fool's gold, around my neck. So this is what pyrite looks like. Yeah. So there you have it. As simple as that, eh? That's your personal growth message for today. I hope this was helpful. And if it was, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you want to hear more messages like this and the other readings that I do, please hit the bell and that will notify you of any new videos that I post. I truly wish you the best in this next stage of your journey, which will not be easy, but I guarantee you that it will be blessed and it will be beautiful. Love and light to you.